Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to make a video without saying every 5 seconds. So please bear with me. If I do say it, give me a nice dislike. Today I want to talk about studios and studio space and renting a studio and making art in general. I've been making larger paintings now for 2 or 3 years. I rented a studio space back when I lived in San Diego at Liberty Station, and I thought it would be a good idea because I thought that I needed to get out of the house more because I was just sitting inside and drawing and not really getting out and socializing and not really getting any exercise. And I thought back to other points in my life, like when I went to college and when I lived in New York. I would always ride my bike everywhere, to my job, to school when I lived in San Francisco, or when I went to go get groceries or anything. I would always have to leave the house all the time, multiple times a day, and I would always ride my bike. So I was pretty fit. Counter. Sorry. Gosh. I watched my video that I recorded recently, and the amount of times that I said just pissed me off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and focus on what I'm saying. As you've probably noticed, I haven't been editing. I didn't edit the last video, and I won't be editing this video either, because my goal is to hire an editor when I can monetize this channel, which may be never, or it may be in a year or 2 years or 3 years. But we'll see. So, plowing right through it, going back to studio talk. So I rented a studio in Liberty Station, and it cost me about $1,025 a month, which, thinking back, is crazy because I was only making around $1,000 a month, plus a little bit extra whenever I would get commissions. At the time, my predominant income was coming from Threadless, actually. I was making around $1,000 a month. I was getting daily sales, and it's, like I said, it seemed like a good idea to rent a studio space. I thought that I had kind of made it to the next level as an artist. I was making a passive income, so to speak. So I thought it was time to step it up. What really happened, though, was instead of saving 2 years worth of money, I blew it on going to this studio. And every time I would go to this studio, I would feel this overwhelming sense of this need to create, but I had really no idea what to do with myself because I had just been drawing with pen and paper for the last few years. So I was out of my comfort zone, which is good because that's where you learn new things. The bad part is that I really wasn't being too productive. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have any structure to my days when I would go to the studio. Instead, I would show up and I would just do the same thing that I would have done at home, but at the studio. I started doing some streams, but all in all, I was still just drawing on paper and inking it and not doing much large-scale stuff. By the time that I did start doing the large-scale stuff, a year had gone by, and at that point I felt this overwhelming kind of pressure bearing down on top of the other pressure that I had to make use of my time more wisely, because what was the point of having the studio? And that pressure just led to stress and anxiety and not getting much done. I was still I was still self-medicating at the time, so that wasn't helping. I would go to the studio and then I would step out and have a toke to calm my nerves, so to speak. And that never really helped me be creative. I would always just get inside my head and I would start streaming, and then I would look at the amount of people watching the stream, and it would always be disappointing, inevitably. So one day I decided that I had to make a really large painting. The scale of the painting was exactly what you see behind me right now. It was 8 feet tall by 4 feet wide. I know this because that piece of wood behind me is the same piece of wood that I bought when I was at the studio in San Diego. It's a big piece of plywood that I got at the Home Depot, and what I did was I stretched canvas over it and I painted my large painting on the canvas, and then when I was done, I took it off and I built a frame and I stretched the canvas onto the frame. I still have that painting. It's actually behind this. I don't know if you can see the top. It's poking out at the top just a little bit. It's the painting is about quitting. It's about discipline and self-control, which is something that in the last few years of my life I've been determined to cultivate. For the majority of my life, I've been kind of a wild kid. I thought that living life to its fullest really meant just trying everything. And by trying everything, I mean things like illicit substances and different alcoholic beverages, to the point of severe intoxication to where I wouldn't remember a lot of what I did. And this lasted for years. So when I was able to start coming out of that, and I'll talk about that in another video, how I overcame these different things, I realized the importance of discipline and self-control. So the painting is called Could Stop, Did Stop. Kind of the opposite of Can't Stop, Won't Stop. To me, it was funny. I find a lot of things funny that a lot of people don't find funny. But that's fine. Sometimes other people find them funny too. Long story short, I was in that studio for 2 years and I made one large painting and I stretched 3 canvases total. And by stretched canvases, I mean I built the frames myself and then I stretched canvas onto them and then I primed them. But I didn't paint the other 2. So what I want to tell you, if you're considering renting out a studio space or getting a space to do strictly art in, have a plan. That's something that I didn't have. Because if you don't, you might end up wasting a lot of time and a lot of money. What my recommendation would be to myself and to you, if I could go back in time, is to just clear out a space in my parents' garage and to start there, to test myself there. Because all you need is some old bed sheets, some old cardboard, some plastic sheeting, maybe some big plastic bags, which you can lay on the floor or hang up on things that you don't want paint on. And you go to your local art store that sells canvas, You get either a pre-primed canvas or just raw canvas. Buy yourself a few big pieces and just go to town. And if you discover that you like what you're doing and people are gonna buy what you're making, then by all means get yourself a studio space and start creating and start, churning out the work. But if you don't have a game plan, it could be detrimental to your funds and to your mental well-being. So that's all I wanted to say on that topic. Thank you for listening. If you are enjoying these videos, let me know by leaving me a comment, or let me know if you hate them, because that's always fun to read. Leave me a like, and also tell your friends about this channel. They'll still be your friends afterwards, hopefully. But if not, we can be friends. And if you're wondering what happened to my wrist, it's a pre-existing injury from when I used to work as a barista. I was trying to fix a tool, and I don't remember exactly how I did it, but I squeezed something too hard and I heard something pop in my wrist. And about a year ago, I was gardening outside and I tore something again in my wrist. So now my wrist is just kind of permanently messed up. So if you have any tips on how I can fix my wrist, also let me know. I'm not going to edit the video because I'm too lazy. Have a great day and keep drawing.